Tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to our Waipapa Papanui-Innes-Central Community Board meeting today. We'll kick off with karakia if everyone can stand. Whakataka taho ki te unu, whakataka taho ki te tonga, kia rā, kina mututa, kia rā tāratara whai, e hea ake ahia, e atakura, e he tio, he nuka, e he hohu, he he mauruna. Right, just a reminder to everybody that we are live streaming, so be aware of that when you're speaking. First item on the agenda is apologies. We have apology from Jake today. We move it in a second. Victoria and John, put that motion. All those in favour? Carried. Declarations of interest. We've got Ali for item 9. So we're going to separate one of those applications. Item 3, confirmation of previous minutes. Do we have a mover and a seconder for those? Ali and Emma, that motion. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 4, public forum. Be here to speak to us today, and no deputations either, no petitions. That moves us to item 7, correspondence. Got that correspondence from the Shirley Community Trust, so we just need to receive that. Victoria's going to move it. Ali seconded it. That motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
And that's carried. And item 8 is the Redwood Park proposed lease. See what you got. We have Felix joining us online.
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Jolly good.
Ali is on. We've got a mover in a second already. Were there any questions for Felix?
Felix, thanks for getting back to me with that question with regards to
All good.
sending the other stuff as well. So it's, I just want to know about the, I haven't had a chance to look at that email because it just came in just before, but thanks for giving me that.
Yep.
How often is it reviewed and what is the review then based on? As far as the
it's reviewed every 3 years, and it's a standard formula that they use, which is based on land values. So it was reviewed this year through the annual plan process, I understand. But either way, there's a 3-yearly review that is tied to land values. So
this one equates to a late $300 for a 3-year period, is that right?
yeah. Well, it's a 460, I think it was.
Right.
Annual rent, and it's a subsidised rent. This formula was set up late 90s, and the subsidy takes account of the community benefit that the sports club bring. So that's how it's that's how it's based. That's where it comes from.
No, that's really helpful. Just one other question on that. Obviously,
they're all got the same. All the formulas apply to all the sports clubs in the same way.
That's my next question. Just say you had a sports club that was doing extremely well financially, that there were commercial elements to it as well as the community element. Is there any flexibility in the leasing policy to adjust the formula because of the type of club that's leasing?
Well, there shouldn't be a commercial element in what they do. All their any money that they make goes back into the club as an incorporated society. That's the first point. But some do make more than others. It's understood. There is no mechanism to take account of that. You could argue that there could or should be. There's a lease policy that's been worked on for the last year or so or more. It's currently in a sort of draft form with the property manager or the head of property at the moment. So it will be coming in your direction at some time. I'm not sure whether this element is included in it, but if you think it should be, then there will be an opportunity to talk about it then.
That's great. That's really useful information. Thank you.
So, could Can we make a note of that for when that submission process? Would there to make a comment about it?
Yeah.
I just asked the level of subsidy. Is it like a percentage, or what would it be? Is it highly subsidised or just token subsidised by council?
Well, if you're looking at it from a starting point commercial basis, it's fairly highly subsidised. It's probably 80% of what would be a commercial rent.
Okay,
But I think it's really important. I mean, you can look at that when the new policy comes in, and you'll get they may have adjusted that element of it. But I think something to think about now is just how difficult it is for the clubs to actually function just to pay the costs of running their building, insurance and maintenance.
Yeah, we're well aware. No one's suggesting we can. No, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Right, any more questions for Felix?
And Victoria.
So any debate? Right, we'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
That is carried. Thank you, Felix.
Thanks.
Item 9, come up with your neighbours. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. I get it read. Any questions?
Happy to move it.
What we're going to do is we'll separate out the age concern one. We'll vote on that one first, and then we'll do the rest together.
I'm just stepping back.
So Ellie's stepping back for this one.
What number is that one? What number is this? 38.
Age concern.
I'm too old to find it.
Yeah, 38.
Yeah.
You'll be attending the
Yeah,
age concern barbecue then.
Oh, really? I'm happy to get on my way now.
Right, so for the age concern one, Sunita's moved it. Who was seconding it?
Oh, obviously can do it.
Pauline. Put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
That's carried. And now we'll do the rest of them.
Maybe to move them on.
Ellie's moved them, Sunita seconded them. Put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
That is carried.
Good to see the numbers coming in.
Yeah.
Good, yes.
Yeah, and a good spread across the area.
And Lisa should be congratulated because she really chased to get more people.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Lisa. Right, discretionary response fund application from City Park Community Patrol Christchurch. That a question, or are you moving it?
Moving it.
Emma's moving it, Anita seconding it.
So
That
can
motion.
I just ask a question? So is this mainly around the safety around the hospital, around the St. Hagley Park?
I guess the first aid training will come into benefit around there, but that they do that
Right.
is really good. I think.
Just that mentioned it in here, so I could, yeah. No, excellent, thank you.
Any debate? No, put that motion, all those in favour?
Aye.
That is carried.
Sweet,
Item
Trevor.
11. Area report.
Oh, if I was-
You don't need to move over.
no, come on.
You shove them over.
We could have broke one. Kia ora. Yeah, he Marie. Firstly, apologies from the marae, as we were supposed to be there this afternoon. But the marae manager has had some health issues, and the board has decided to put him on limited hours. We are hopefully going to reschedule, but probably for next year, something to look forward to in 2024. So the area report, we are happy to take any questions. There is I think 2022-23, the board made a decision about civic awards. We were a little bit slow on the uptake because the money got put back into the wash up, but we're asking to take a portion of those awards from this DRF. So you've made the decision, resolution, but it's just the money's gone back into the general wash up. We just want to grab some of that back to pay for the awards. Yeah.
Whose pockets come from?
Emma and then Ellie.
I just have a question around the safety at Northlands and that ongoing work. The schools, are they fully involved in that piece of work? The high schools?
The downstream effects.
No, for the Northland Shopping Centre.
Oh.
So looking at youth, solving some
Yes,
youth
yes.
issues.
So Papanui High School and the two local youth organisations, Te Ora Hau and Papanui Youth Development and the mall management as well. We're doing some work around what that looks like going forward, and I might in October you'll have a workshop on the better of funding. That could be a consideration if you wanted to support that.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. I'd just say that Moriha and St. Bede's and Marion should be.
Completely agree. These the mall is a centre point and a collection point of all types of young people, students.
Yeah.
But obviously the closest neighbours are Papanui, but you're right.
They're all here all the time. So and I know that I just raise it because also my son goes to St. Bede's, so I've had some insight into how they work on problems that are there. So if their students are in trouble on the street in their school uniforms, they actually send out a letter to all parents letting them know that this has happened, and to then go back to all students and restate what is expected of their behaviours. So they've got some good things going about how to keeping children, the youth in line with their behaviours. So
cool.
Good.
Yep, no, I can take that to the table for the next group meeting.
Yeah, and also with all the developments at Maireha, that it's important that we make sure that they feel part of this community. Like extra vigilant, is my view on that as well.
Interesting.
Ellie, question?
Yeah, just a question about Shirley Road. The submissions, the 254 submissions you've received.
Just under, yeah.
Just under. Is that, does that include the last 5 years we've been doing this, or is that just in this latest round?
Latest from
Awesome.
the let's talk from the
Good number. And I know that they're being analysed for a report to the board later in the year. A few things around that. When will we be able to see those submissions just separate to the report even? I don't know whether that's something we could see just to have a look at to see what the flavour is of what you've been getting.
Okay, I can put that to our engagement.
Eventually, obviously, we're not going to go spinning those around anywhere at this stage because the report's not done. And when will you know when in the year we will get that? Because later in the year it'd be awful to get it just before Christmas and everything closes down for 6 weeks.
We are aiming for November, but
awesome. Okay.
But that is our hope and aim.
Okay.
But no promises.
No, that's fine. And also, what will that report be doing? Will it be presenting options to the board? Will it be? Can you just talk to that a little bit, Stacey, about what? I'm just really keen to know what the next stages are or the next phases, because we've been doing this for so long.
No, I 100% agree.
Good work, great work.
No, I agree. I think it'll be an options element, and taking in those discussions you've had about the costings for a power library as well, and then some really clear options of next step. So you guys, next year, when you look at your long-term plan submissions, you might want to advocate to bring the money forward. But yeah, so you'll have some really clear directions from staff to say, this is what they recommend.
Can I just ask, and I'd be really keen to know what the board thinks of this, especially those who've been around this for so long, and you guys as well. I feel there's a gap missing there. I feel that there's a stage where we need to be looking at those submissions and perhaps looking at the recommendations from staff and ask some questions around that. For example, I've heard very little about the library option. So I don't know whether there's an ability.
Wasn't in it.
Yeah, but well, I'm hoping it's going to come back as an option, but if it's not, you know, we need to know whether, I want to know what the lease arrangement is with the current library at the Palms, whether there's anything in the library budgets and the long-term plans there that could help move this, or, so I'd hate to get a report that's sort of
What we can maybe look at doing is having
a workshop.
a briefing before we receive that.
That would be awesome. Thank you. Great. Thanks.
Any other questions in the area report? Yep. I'm happy to move that one. Sunita?
Can I just congratulate staff on an excellent report, and I really like seeing the little links in there that takes you back to all sorts of things. It's just getting better and better.
You like Mark?
You like Mark.
Mark, it's really good.
He does chase us, but it's definitely Mark's money.
You're so efficient.
Credit where
Mark.
credit's due.
And I know, I might as well take the opportunity to say now that I know that whenever I send a question through, I know anyone else, Mark comes straight back, really onto it. So thank you. It's really helpful.
Right, so we'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
That's carried. Final item on the agenda is the information exchange. Link.
Yeah, I just want to share with the board the little what do you call it? Event that Emma, Simon and I attended at Shirley Trust with the gifting of the deed to the Shirley Community Trust. So the transitional centre that was at St Albans, donated by the Lions Club, was gifted to the City Council when it went over to McFarlane Park, and then this week the City Council have gifted it to the Trust. So that means that the Trust are fully responsible for managing it and also now operating it and being responsible for the maintenance and everything. So that was wonderful, and the council also supplied a cherry tree which we planted. It was really lovely. So that was a really well attended event too, with the community turning out quite big numbers. And just the other thing is just to highlight, and you probably know that the Edgeware Pool Group have got their new website live and it's really good. And they've also got a newsletter function. I don't know how often it's going out, would it be monthly?
Well, yeah, I'm not too sure about it, how often is it. There's one out at the moment. And if
Yeah,
you're looking for it, it's
the
on
newsletter was being
Facebook page.
emailed around, and then it has a link to the website. And the website's now got a really good secure funding link.
Mechanism, yeah.
And they have, since it went live last Friday, they have now pulled in over $15,000 of the 50 that they need to activate the 330 that they've got. So they're just looking at 50,000 so that they can use that for the reports and the legal documents they need for the detailed costings and detailed drawings. So they can't use any of the 3.3 million that they've got. That's all for the construction itself. So they need the 50,000 to push the go button. And so, yeah, if you could share it, that would be fantastic and help to attract some generous donors.
Yeah, 5,000 each as well as yeah, would be great.
Yeah. Thank you. That's me. Thank you. I think, oh, hang on a minute. Did you say you're going to put it on the board's Facebook page?
Yes, I will. Yeah.
Thank you.
A newsletter.
Victoria and then Ellie.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. I've had an invitation to attend the official opening of the Canterbury Cancer Centre, which was on the 28th of September. I'm unable to attend. I'm not here, so I've just asked Emma to attend, but if anyone else wants to attend, then I'll.
When was it?
It's for, I think it's Thursday the 28th.
I'd really like to go. Cancer's huge in my family and they've been amazing.
And I'll circulate it around for those who can attend. They made a real effort to come to meet us. They wanted to integrate into the community. And I was unable to get to the blessing this week, the opening of the building and then the formal opening, but I'd really like to see some presence there, so I'll forward it around. The other two things on my radar is, I'm not sure if you've heard about the cat feeder in the Papanui and Bishopdale area, and there's been some increased media attention around her activities.
No,
there's been.
Can you explain what is it?
It's very much in the public domain. There's been articles in local newspapers as well as on the radio as well as on television. There is a lady who feeds people's cats. And
turns them into barrels.
she feeds cats. So there are concerns around what she's feeding, where she's leaving things, concerns about litter, concerns about poisoning cats. There has been a bit of hysteria developed around it, and there's been some concerns around some, dare I say it, vigilante type behaviour. There's been pressure on the council to act. Council are involved, police are involved, SPCA are involved, community partnerships involved. It's a really very difficult issue with a really multi-agency approach. I've been asked to comment on the meeting, which I've done this week. And by having spoken with our compliance team and our community partnerships team, we've agreed that we'll host a public meeting with the various agencies if it's required. We're not actively going to do that unless we think that there's a real need. But I just wanted you to be aware of it, and if there's concerns, have you to come via me. I think it's really delicate, and there's quite a bit of hysteria, and there's lots of issues involved, and we need to be worried about the mental health and well-being of everybody, including the woman herself who's feeding the cats.
Is this into the Harewood area as well?
It's into the Harewood, Bishop Island, it's on there, but it's St Albans. So just talk offline if you want to talk about it.
Oh, that area.
Yeah, she goes walking. Yeah.
And what's she feeding them?
Well, that's disputable, what she's feeding them. Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to raise
Sorry,
was,
one more question on that as well. There would be no law that would cover that, would there?
there's some laws in relation to bylaws around littering, because some of it is littering what she's putting the food on. There's also some issues around trespass because she's going onto people's properties to feed their cats.
Oh, right.
So that's why the police are involved, that's why the council are involved in relation to the littering aspect. There's also the health department involved in relation to some of the types of foods that are being left around. So as you can see, it's quite complex, and it's going to take some delicate management.
Particularly in St Albans, where we've got rats, we don't want food lying around.
Yeah, exactly. So it's in people's, it's in public places, on footpaths, it's in parks, it's on the edges of some people's properties. And there's just growing concern around it. So we're just going to manage that carefully. The other one I wanted to touch on was just the PC14 changes. Not sure if you're all up to speed with that, but there's been some changes recommended by council officers, which affects the building heights in and around the Papanui area and some of the walkable distance to the local centres. And yes, we have an increase. And so in the absence of a active residents association here in Papanui, the Papanui Heritage Group was invited to attend a public meeting in Riccarton. The Riccarton Residents Association requested the council, and the council presented, they had council staff, a big gathering of people who were concerned about the changes, and they presented on that. It was really good to see that although only an hour was allocated, there were clearly more than an hour was required, and the council staff went above and beyond to stay and answer questions. Some of the concerns are around you're only able to comment on the changes to the notified plan if you've previously been a submitter. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's unavoidable because the rules and the process and the guidelines about how the process works are all set by the RNA. So the suggestion has been that if you've got concerns, or you've got residents who've got concerns, that they're in touch with someone who's already submitting, because chances are the issues are all the same. But I'd encourage you to talk with your local councillor. We've all had in-depth briefings on it. And given my prior involvement with the previous district plan, I understand the process, and I'm happy to talk to any of you if you wanted some information around it. I won't dive into it here, but happy to chat about that.
Yep, I'll just say that Simon and I were at that meeting as well, and because the board submitted, people can come to us and we can capture.
Yeah, I forgot you guys did it. Yeah, but it was. I thought it was a really good meeting. I commended the council staff for the way in which they were really factual and logical and calm in the face of some quite emotional and heated comments from residents. But it was a useful meeting, and I've had one or two people contact me about it, and I'm just heading them in various directions as to how to do that. That was all from me, although Simon was going to touch on something that also involved me as well.
So can I just add to what Victoria was saying, just quickly? Is that okay?
Yes, and then we'll come to
Just that people have to understand that the directive has come from the government in a bipartisan agreement that they want intensification and they want it
you know, all the, you know, parameters they put around it in the central city and the suburbs and how many stories are permissible and walking distance, blah, blah, blah. And so our council staff have to provide evidence that what they're putting forward as a result of what people have said, they can't just take what people say and put that, they have to have evidence around that it's going to fit with what the government wants. So it's a really, really constrained process, and it's really difficult for staff as well. And then, of course, we've got, if we have a different government, then things may change again. So it's a movable feast. So I just wanted to, and we can't as a board, like if people come to us with all sorts of different views, that would put us in a difficult situation as well, wouldn't it? So quite how we.
It's the same for any policy statement, isn't it? I mean, once the government dictates essentially, that's it, right? And follow it.
Well, no, but the government will, if it ends up with the minister, the hearings panel may well adopt some of the changes that our staff have recommended. They may not. We can, it comes back to council, we can reject it and it goes to the minister, or else we can accept it. So,
And if I can just add on to that, through you, Chair, one of the issues we've got to be mindful of is that council are the final decision maker when the recommendation comes to us. So as councillors, you know, we're not forming any views on it. We've just got to be open-minded about it. And that's pretty challenging when we've got lots of people coming to talk to us. But just a reminder that that's the process. They'll make the recommendations, and we've got an independent hearings panel. They are independent. There's experts there. They'll duly consider it all, and it'll all come out in the wash.
Matt, did you have something on that?
Yes. Oh, yeah, but it's sort of been answered now. Okay. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure that you know. If not.
Apologies for late arrival. Victoria and I have met with a Papanui resident who's raised the idea with us of a local community newsletter. It's something we don't have in this community, but a lot of other Christchurch communities do have. And yeah, we're just giving that some consideration. We're both very supportive of the idea. We're just working with that person, just working through, I guess, the early stages of considering what might that look like, how might it work, where would it sit, what would the model be. Yeah, we can see it as something that would really help contribute to our local community, to that sense of community. And so, yeah, watch this space, I think is a message at the moment. But yeah, just wanted members to be aware of that and for the public to be aware of it as well.
cool. So without a group, official group, it needs to be information only and not opinion.
Oh, it's where it sits is no concrete.
Say all.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Try to be.
It just without wanting to go too long on Plan Change 14, conversations I've had with some local people around that, and also some of the material I've seen come through. I think a gap at the moment that needs to be met, and I heard on Monday night from staff will be met, is some further details, including some clear maps for our residents, indicating what is being recommended by the council experts, and therefore to help the public to understand. Because when people hear, for example, 10 stories in Papanui, it can create a picture in their mind that is not necessarily even what's being recommended. Never mind what the process might be from here and what happens to that recommendation. Never mind that will be enabling, not requiring, etc., etc. But yeah, I'm certainly aware that, for example, the higher height limit in Papanui is a very tightly constrained area, but that's the bit that hasn't been, I think, communicated very widely yet. So yeah, that'll be helpful, I think, to our community when that comes out for the Rickett and Hornby areas as well.
Yeah.
Ellie.
Thank you. I had a question, and it is actually goes back to the board report. It's just related to the traffic count data and the link through to the signalised intersections and the link roads. And if you go through to that signalised, that map that shows road counts, there's nothing in the areas where we're monitoring our traffic count, as in Cranford Street. So I took a screenshot of where the traffic counts are. And I think the closest might be somewhere in Papanui, but I just wondered, could we find out how those locations are decided on, and whether there's some way we can actually have some regular information, or we can add some of that Cranford Street into it, because it's becoming, and even the Berwick corner, that's just awful. It's a real nightmare. And that's
Which part of the area report?
3.5.6, page 58. And that's if you click on that.
That's probably we can follow up with the DEM.
Yeah.
Well, they've just had all the,
I swiped over a couple on Crankford Street.
No,
last
it's
week.
not a cycle counter.
No, on the road.
Yes, I've got straps out at the moment everywhere. Yeah.
they went in today, so they've been out for the last week.
Oh, and they've come out again.
But they were
But it's something we
everywhere,
can
yeah.
Yeah, but these look like they're set places. The other thing is, I don't know what's going on, but boy, I think the pavements and the roads are looking a lot better in parts of St Albans that haven't for ages. There are parts of pavements that have been, like something out of Bosnia for the last 4 or 5 years, and they're being done and they actually look really, really good. There's still work to do, but we absolutely seem to be, taking some of those. I don't know whether anyone else has noticed it. Potholes are being filled in and stuff. There are some pretty gnarly, I suppose I can snap sense of that. No, that's fine. There's some pretty awful ones down Roosevelt, so I'll do that. And are we going to have regular rubbish pickups along that CNC area that we've always talked about? I was thrilled to see the yellow plastic lid of the rubbish bin having gone, but in fact it's just blown down to another part of the area. So it would be good to know what sort of maintenance there is for down there. And the last one is, could someone find out what's going on? I've now sent 3 snaps in soles for the cones that are at the McFadden's Road, Bradford Street crossover. So there's
Because the barrier's broken. On the pedestrian refuge.
Yeah, but isn't the barrier further down part of the fence? Or is that
The
where
bit
the
of fence
cones
is
are?
missing, that's where
The cones are. Thank you. That's, if someone had told me that, it would have been great. I wouldn't have been wasting my time sending the snaps in soles.
Mark has been following that one up.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Cool. That's all. Thank you.
Anyone else? No, I've just got a couple of things to update that I've been through. Week before last week I went to the Shirley Village project, big catch up hui, which was really fantastic. It was just basically getting all the people who are involved in the area together to give an update on where the project's at and what's happened, where they're heading in the future. And there was over 70 people from attending. So that just shows the number of agencies and groups and people that are invested in that area. So that was really cool to go to. And then I also went to the Belfast Community Network, AGM, which was again, obviously they're not based in our area now, but they're still doing the work down in Redwood and Northcote. And it was good to get an update from Robbie, who's the Popper's Kitchen that are doing the stuff out by the Redwood Library. They're going really well, working on expanding, and the Belfast Community Network are really helping them out because they're just newly incorporated, so they're working through all their requirements and all that sort of thing. So really positive stuff happening there.
Sorry, Emma, what's Robbie at the Potters?
The Potter's Kitchen. They run a food bank from the old Plunkett building, and
cool.
Tuesday they have the community lunch.
That could be similar to a hub. The hub around here, up in the area.
It's a real focal point for
Yeah.
they're meeting a real need in there.
Right, cool.
Right.
Sorry, I do have one thing, just sort of more as sort of a statement, really. I've been around and about the hospital area in the last couple of weeks, and I am actually blown away that whatever the main road is there, that's not timed parking. So we've spent years and years and years going on about parking at the hospital, and all that parking along there, they can park all day.
It's wicked in there.
Rickett and Ann, is it?
I think a lot of those.
Like, has anyone suggested that could be time put into?
Then there would be nowhere for staff to park.
Well, I have to say, I mean, staff, if they've got a safe, clear place that they get used to parking in, i.e., on Dean's Ave, which is there for them now, and they've got shuttles, for people dropping off sick people, injured people, I think they would come before the staff, because there's nowhere, and you go down there and it's all full of people that have been parking there all day.
I think the car park's not far off, is it?
I was shocked. I was like, I've never paid any attention to it, but I was shocked. It's like,
Are you
These
sure
are
it's not piece something?
It's right from the women's towards the city. It's metered, but after that, it's all. My understanding is it is staff.
Yeah.
Staff was parking.
Because they have nowhere else.
I remember a few years ago, even a nurse was attacked right there. So
So they probably get there like 4 a.m. or something.
quite early.
Yes, but as a council, that's, like their safety and their parking is up to the employer. Yes, it's the employer's responsibility to ensure your staff are safe. Like if all the employees at malls started doing the same thing, parking around, actually the mall does, they do give them parking there. It's not council's responsibility for the safety of their staff. It is the employer.
Yeah, but they don't. So what do we do? But our nose off to spite our face.
It's like, I know it sounds harsh for the staff, but that is actually the way it is the staff's responsibility.
Sorry, you go, Simon.
The other side of that though is it's Te Whatu Ora's responsibility to provide parking for clients, patients for the hospital, not primarily the council. It's always been the pushback from the council.
Anyway, this is.
There is parking, the project that they're looking at, so introducing more parking down Higley area.
The trial.
Mm.
Yeah, it's already. Does that now work?
Restricted.
This isn't it? Yes.
It is.
Yeah, it was it's a metropolitan project.
Yes, and that's why that is a, it's not just immediate our board issue, which we would be able to solve. Yeah.
Had one to on that one.
Yeah.
It's no easy solution. Right, anything else? No? Okay, in that case, we will finish with our karakia.
All right.